Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on another episode of Ask Sharifah Videocast. I am your host, Sharifah Hardie, and we have an amazing show for you today because, as always, I love when I have the opportunity to have my friends as guests on the show, and today's guest is definitely a friend of mine. She is one person who has helped me along on my path, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a moment, but I just want to introduce our guest, who is an intuitive medium as well as a voice channeler, Mrs. Crista Marie Miller. Good afternoon, Krista. How are you?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am wonderful as well. Thank you for joining me. We're going to talk a little bit about you, what you do. We don't know what's going to happen in this hour, and it's the Friday after 4th of July. I'm in a wonderful holiday festive mood. I've been feeling this weekend all week, and to end this week with Krista, that's amazing. How are you feeling? How's the energy today?
The energy is interesting as we are, in this Mercury retrograde funk. Things are going a little haywire, but it gives us the opportunity to learn to be more balanced and to really understand what it is to have this physical experience and to experience all that is human, as we say. So it's challenging, but it's a blessing at the same time.
Absolutely. Now, all that wisdom, the retrogrades, when did you realize you were actually a medium and a channel?
Well, I've seen spirit my whole life, and I actually started channeling at the age of 7. And how that came about was I was in a toy store, and like I said, I had seen spirit my whole life, so I was very used to seeing spirit. And spirit is disembodied people. And I was in a toy store, and I saw this gentleman kneeling by a running creek, and this was a reality on top of a reality. And this was a spirit who was an earthbound in this toy store. And I saw him with such clarity and detail. And I was 7 years old, and I was just transfixed by him. I was just like, oh my gosh, who is this guy? Like, why am I seeing him so solid, but I know I'm in a toy store? And so I went to go and take a step closer to him, and that's when he saw me, and he turned around, super pissed off, super angry, and he just came bum rushing me, and he was like, this is my spot, do you understand? This is my area, I'm tired of everybody trespassing, and he was so angry, and he came at with me with so much force, so much energy and force. In fact, he knocked a couple toys off the shelf. So it kind of proved that this reality was interacting with another reality. And I was just terrified. But luckily, he disappeared before I got too close. And later on, a couple days later, I was in my treehouse. Now I know I was meditating, but I was quietly just sitting there thinking. And another male spirit popped up next to me. And I was like, oh, no, not again. I don't want to know this. I don't want to, because that last episode terrified me. So I was like, please no. And he's like, don't worry. This is normal for you. This is a gift from God that you've received. He introduced himself as my spirit guide. And he actually let me meld with him and taught me how to speak through him. And then shortly after that, Yeshua came to me, who I later learned was Jesus. And then a couple of days after that, Mary Magdalene came to me. So learning with those 3 types of energy, the different energy pools, at the age of 7, I really started learning, okay, this is what I am. And then through Yeshua or Jesus, I learned how to do mediumship. Mm-hmm. So I'm very spirit learned. I'm not very book learned at all. And everybody's like, have you heard of this person ever? I'm like, no, not really. Because I just go to, I consider it going to the source. Mm-hmm. And that's how I really learned mediumship. I started being classically trained, I guess you could say that. I started following Sylvia Brown and became a member of her church. But she actually never told me I was a medium. Mm-hmm. And then I started following James Van Praagh, and James Van Praagh was the one who actually said, okay, you have this gift, now let me teach you more. And so I am trained by James Van Praagh, and was just on stage with him actually last September of 2018. So I was very blessed to do that. And so that's how I got, I guess, my major chops in mediumship.
Wonderful. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. But before we do, I'm going to welcome everyone who has joined us this afternoon for this conversation. And as always, feel free to join the conversation. If you have a question, if you have a comment for our guest, who knows what's going to happen? We may do some readings, we may not. We'll see where spirit leads us. But we want to welcome Karen Schofield Littlefield for joining us today. Louise Monin Torres says hi, Krista. And Lonnie Daly is joining us. So as everyone comes in, thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. And please go ahead and share this interview, because friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah. And I know this show is going to be amazing. So you definitely want to go ahead and hit that share button. Now, Krista, when you first started explaining about your experience in the Toy Story, it reminded me of the movie Ghost, when Patrick Swayze was learning from the other ghost in the subway station, and the ghost was just angry. So when you're talking about an angry ghost, I'm like was it kind of that experience for you?
Yeah, I actually saw ghosts. I was probably 10 or 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it really hit home. It was just like, oh my gosh, they got it right. They got it right. That's exactly how it is.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, spirit really has to enforce so much energy and so much focus in order to interact with our world.
Mm-hmm.
So the way I remember him in that subway station kicking the can.
Yes.
Yeah. And they just described that and showed that so beautifully and wonderfully. Yeah. So I could go on and on.
No, that's what we hear. That's why we have some time and the opportunity and the privilege to sit down with you and to speak to you about your world and the things that happen in your world. Now, when you mentioned the story of how you were 7 years old, you're in the Toy Story and the ghost is there, he's angry. And it looks to me as if you're just like, oh, just another day in Krista's life. But what was your reaction? What did you feel as a 7-year-old? Did it scare you? Did you want to turn your gift away?
No, I never, at that point, I didn't want to turn it away. I was just scared and confused. I didn't understand what was going on. And I actually took out a little bit of that story. So I'll come back to that now. So before I was meditating in my treehouse, my dad used to watch this show called Unsolved Mysteries. And what really made it finally click for me that this was really, truly happening to me was that show always like freaked me out to no end. It scared the crap out of me. As soon as that theme music turned on, I was like, boom, out of the room, like running to my room, slamming the door. I'm like, no. But this one particular program, and it's so interesting how when you have a spiritual experience, it usually happens like 5 to 7 days, and then another experience will happen. It's always like that seven's really, really big in spirituality. Mm-hmm. So it must have been like about 7 days. And my dad was watching that show, and there was a psychic medium on that night in the same exact toy store I was at, mm-hmm. speaking to the same exact spirit I was talking to. And that's when it finally clicked for me. I was like, okay, I'm not making this up. Because my mom and dad would always say, oh, you have a fantastic imagination, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's when I was like, okay, there's an adult here seeing what I was seeing, interacting with the same spirit. Mm-hmm. This is not coincidence. Mm-hmm. So it was I consider it divine intervention, where they were just showing me this is how it is, and you are in this reality. This is your reality. Mm-hmm. And that really helped me cope, was knowing somebody else was able to do it as well.
Yes. So it helped you cope, but going through life, was it always a positive experience? Because you always hear about, let's just take it back to Salem witch trials. People are always afraid of what they don't know, what they don't understand. Some people believe, some people don't. What was life like for you as a young medium growing up?
It was difficult. I was blessed to have my older sister who really fully supported me and understood me and taught me, you don't say too much to different people, especially outside of your family. So I was very, very blessed to have that guidance. But when she moved away to Ohio, again, when I was around the age of 10, and that safety net that I had was gone. I wasn't, it was back before they had cell phones. And so I couldn't just, pick up the phone and call her. It was kind of hard to get a hold of people that time. And I started sharing at school what I was getting with people. And I got bullied a lot. I got really, really Like I was called the devil worshiper. I was called a witch, you know, the whole spectrum. I didn't have many friends growing up because I couldn't trust many. Luckily, I've been blessed with one best friend since kindergarten.
Oh.
But besides that, it's and she's still my best friend to this day. But besides that, it's been friends were hard to come by because they weren't sure about me, and because I was able to tell them things about their family that they didn't want other people to know, and it was difficult. So at the age of 10, I asked for it to be taken away because I didn't want any more. And especially at the age of 10, because I was seeing, you know, realities on top of realities, dimensions, spirits, ghosts, angels, anything and everything. It was bombarding me. And so I'm like, I'm done. Please take it away. Please take it away. And so I was taking the groceries out of my mom's car one day, and the trunk lid fell on the back of my head. And I blacked out, and I fell into the trunk. And I popped out of the body, and I saw Archangel Michael stand behind me and flip something in the back of my head. And when I came to, I didn't see anymore, but I started feeling. And that was when there was a shift. Where I became from clairvoyant to empathic. And so I didn't see it as much, but I started feeling everybody's feelings. And it became so heavy, so weighed down that this was, you know, 8th, 9th grade. By the time I was in the end of 10th grade, I could barely leave the house. I couldn't leave my room. I was anxiety filled, depression, you name it, because I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't understand. I was taking in all these different emotions. So I was, like I said, I was in 10th grade and I stopped going to school and they kicked me out of high school. I like to say I'm a badass. I got kicked out of high school. But no, it's because I stopped going because I was just terrified to leave the room. But
what do you think was going to happen if you left the room? I mean, did you think?
I seriously, it was crazy bad anxiety, like a complete, like sucked in, like I couldn't breathe. There was some days where I couldn't even leave my room. It was because I was just overwhelmed by feelings and emotions and anxiety. It was horrible.
So how did you get out of it? What happened?
Yeah. So ever since I was little, I always wanted to be an actress, but my parents wouldn't allow me to go on auditions or anything because they didn't want me to get hurt. They really wanted to protect me. And so when I got kicked out of high school, I got to go into independent study. And when I went into independent study, I tested high enough where I was able to start college at the same time. So I was finishing up high school through independent study, and I got to go into college. And I was so lucky because when you get enrolled in college, even at the age of 16, you're registering as an adult and you can pick your own classes. So I immediately went for theater. And theater is what taught me how to express these emotions, how to balance these emotions. I truly believe every actress and actor is a channel. They're channeling that energy and bringing it out forward. And just acting techniques is what truly helped me get over all the anxiety and depression, because I learned how to channel it properly and how to balance it out in my life.
So what are some of the techniques that you learned? Because I'm pretty sure, and you know, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, your acting teacher wasn't like, let's work with the spirit. So what techniques did you use that opened your mind to you like, aha, this will help me being an empath?
Going through the different emotions through different characters. Expressing them out and letting them out. That's a huge part. Like so many people, I feel like when they're anxiety and depressed, they just want to sit there and cry. But no, get angry, get happy, get silly, you know, let the emotions out and like express them out. And if be it, take on a character. Even it doesn't, spirit and energy does not matter if you put on a character or not, as long as you're expressing it through your body. That's what truly helped me because at the beginning of theater, we had to go through all the emotions and they would be like angry, boom, sad, boom. And we would split it like every 3 minutes where it was like, you change a mood. But even it was just the simple act of running that energy and running the emotions through. So now when I get down and I dip a little bit, I will memorize a play. I'll memorize a little script and I'll act it out. And that helps me just balance out my energy again. I think that's, that's a technique not a lot of people talk about.
It's a technique I, for one, have never heard of.
Yeah. So I'm starting to bring in my acting ability, my theater techniques into the more spiritual realm of teaching people how to express more and how to just feel more. We're such Spirit's telling me a bone dry society, of that we're never given permission to fully express who we are and to fully passionately feel. It's like taboo to feel nowadays. It's like, no, let it out. When you're happy, be happy. When you're sad, be sad. It's okay. It's okay to express. So that's what truly got me out of the depression and the anxiety, was learning how to express my feelings properly and in the right manner and in the right form.
Wow, that's exciting. That's a twist that I would never have seen coming, even though, like I said earlier, you were one of the key people who helped me in my transition in life when I was working at a job and I'm trying to decide whether I should stay, whether I should go. And we had a session to where you said, Sharifah, you are a superstar in your own right. And immediately I knew what that message meant. It meant for me to take the risk and step out on my own. And almost 2 years later, here I am. And I'm so glad. If not for your help, your guidance, your counseling, I might still be working that same day job. So I am truly grateful. And I'm truly someone who can say that Crista Marie Miller has helped me in my day-to-day life. So again, if you are just now tuning in, we are speaking with Crista Marie Miller. We're learning about her life as a medium and as a channel, and we're getting some unexpected information, how theater helped her with her anxiety and her depression. So go ahead and share this interview. Now, Crista, another thing that I wanted to talk about, so we learned a little bit about your journey that helped you reduce your anxiety, reduce your depression, but did you still remain just an empath? How did you go from that to back to being a medium, hearing or seeing the spirits?
Cool. Well, it was a journey nonetheless. I never fully went away from spirituality. Around the age of 16, when I started into theater, I went into started studying Wicca and witchcraft and became a solo witch. I never joined a coven or anything like that, but I really wanted to get in touch more with Mother Nature and Gaia. And so I really started studying that, and that brought me to Tarot, that I learned extensively at the age of 16. I learned how to read Tarot very well. And it was like one thing was leading to another. My first major relationship, we really got into more of the psychic tools, the pendulum, we learned together. And then my second major relationship, we actually joined a ghost hunting team, or we created a ghost hunting team, and I went and learned how to clear houses. And everything that I was learning and downloading from Spirit and saying, this is how you do it. This is the way you do it. So again, I wasn't book learned. I was just learning naturally through Spirit and what my guides and Ascended Masters were telling me. And angels, the angels taught me how to protect and clear a house. And so, I went into the ghost hunting route for a while, and that's what really kind of brought me. And that's when James Van Praagh started teaching me. At that time, I was about 20 years old, and started learning the difference between earthbound and people in the light. And it's been like I said, it's been a process. And so when I finally, so that relationship ended, and then I started dating my husband, who is my husband now, and we got pregnant with our son about 7 years into our marriage. And I was just like, oh my gosh, there's so much of me that I've closed off that I want to open back up again. I want my children to know who I truly am. So I was driving one day, and I was like, okay, all right, Spirit, I'm ready. I'm ready to get back into that clairvoyant, to see. I want to be able to see other dimensions, realities again. I'm ready. Bring it on. Word of warning, don't ask for that while you're driving. Please, please, please don't ask. Because literally, as soon as I said that, traffic was slowing down. And I looked in my rearview mirror, and the person behind me was not slowing down. I was going about 10 miles per hour, and she was going about 65, 70. And my last thought was, she's not going to stop. and she didn't. I had a clippy in my hair, and the clippy went into the back of my head, and her front bumper ended up in my back seat.
Oh,
she
wow.
hit so hard, and the car started doing, spinning out on the freeway. Again, I popped out of the body, and I watched all this happen from above my car, and I saw Sentinel angels stopping traffic on the freeway, and my car did not hit a single other car, and it came to a rest. And I remember looking up, because my higher self was here, my guides were behind me, and I'm looking at everybody, and I'm like looking at my spiritual team. I'm like, I have to go back, don't I? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to go back. And they're like, no, you have so much more work to do. And it's like, all right, fine. And when I looked back at my car, there again was Archangel Michael sitting in the passenger seat, and he flipped something back in the back of my head because he reached behind me. And when I came to, there was the sight again. There was everything. To this day, that day, I don't remember who was an angel and who was real, because I had so many. I mean, I had an angel in my car. It was just like a light bulb turned back on. It was like, oh my gosh, here we go again. And they actually had to use the jaws of life to get me out of the car. I was bruised up, but I didn't have a scratch on me. And the paramedics got scratches on their arms. And they're like, how do you not have a scratch on you? And I'm like, and that's how, and then it was a good 7 years. And it's been about 9 years since my accident now. But it's been about 7 years. And once that 7-year mark passed, now I'm back to where I was at the age of 10, where I can see, everything from, earth elementals, spirit guides, angels, ascended masters, light beings, archangels. And that's actually what I bring in a session with a client, is as long as it comes in for the highest good of my client, I allow it in. Mm-hmm. And it's been a beautiful journey. And that's how I came back to where I was back then. So luckily now I'm not that empathic anymore. I'm like, whew. I'm so much more happy with seeing stuff than feeling stuff. But I still, when I get back into, that kind of dip and low, I do express my feelings more now. And that taught me, being empathic taught me how other empathics feel. And I'm like, I fully get it. I'm like secretly glad I'm not there anymore, but I fully get it.
Wow. I mean, I understand completely. And I was getting ready and prepared for this interview. And being that, I love you to death, Krista, it was not one of those interviews where I had to do a lot of research and study. And it's like, oh, yeah, I get to sit down with my girl, have a little conversation with Krista. So it was a moment, because I had a friend of mine who I had grown up with all my life who passed away yesterday. And so I was in this mode, and I'm like, I don't feel like doing anything. I don't want to say the wrong thing, because I was feeling a little down. I was like, no, I have to sit and speak with Krista. And before he passed away, this is what reminded me of what you said, like feeling empathetic, because feeling like an empath, because I was feeling like a little down. I was feeling a little like something's going on here. And then I heard the news that he had passed away at 50. They said he might have a heart attack. So it's like life is always changing. It's always, so I was like, okay, but I definitely wanted to sit down with you, even though I had that experience, but I can completely relate, because I was feeling it. And I know I was feeling it. And so it can often change our mood.
Yeah, for sure it can. Because no matter how spiritual and enlightened we become, we have to remember we're still human beings.
Absolutely.
And have to feel the emotions.
Absolutely. So I'm allowing myself to feel them, as Krista would say, the sadness, the hurt, the grief, whatever it is, I'm going to feel them. But right now, what I want to do in between feeling those feelings is welcome Olivia Castillo. I'm so horrible with names. I have to get better as I get more professional. But Olivia Castillo Perverse, I believe her name is. If I mangled it too bad, I sincerely apologize. But Olivia says hello. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, for the hearts, for the thumbs up, for all of your support. We're speaking with Crista Marie Miller, and we're learning about her life as a medium. It's not too often we do get an opportunity to sit down with a medium. So this is exciting for me. Now, we talked a little bit about doing readings. When you do readings, do you use tools? Do you still use the tarot cards? What do you use for your readings?
Now that I've been doing this professionally now for about 3 years. I don't use much. I use a pen and paper to get the energy going. I do a lot of automatic writing. But now I just go off with what I see and what I feel. I do I do sometimes, like when you were speaking of your friend, like I immediately got pressure in my chest. Oh, okay. So you start interpreting those clues. I do like to pull cards every once in a while because I like to speak and talk about what I'm getting. And then I like to pull cards and it always matches up with what I'm saying. And my clients go, whoa. And it's like, so I do use cards every now and then. If it's a short reading, I do often use tarot to get the energy flowing quicker. But preferably, I love, longer readings where I can just let it naturally flow and seeing what happens. So do I use tools? No, not that often.
Okay, I like that. Now, I saw you had a video. I'm not sure. It may have been about 6 months ago, around 6 months ago, but you did a video, which I truly enjoyed. And I may have the title incorrect, but it was how to speak to or how to get the name of your spirit guide. Can you tell us a little bit about that video and how to do it?
Okay, yeah. Well, it was 5 steps on how to communicate with your spirit guide or with your spirit team, Claire. And they were, I was instructed to make this video and about my experience, because when I fully wanted to start communicating better with spirit on my own, because I had all this technical training, like I said, from Sylvia Brown and James Van Praagh. Like I had that was really the only hardcore training I had, but I'm like, there's more. I know there's more. There's something deeper here. And when I meditate, ever since I was young, I meditate in the morning and at night. It's just what I do. And so when I meditate, I always meet with my spiritual team in the Hall of Records, and we meet at this long table because I'm kind of a nerd. I love books. And so we're surrounded by books, and like I'll pull books out and I'll pull movie screens up, and we'll just have this wonderful conversation. And I told them, I was like, guys, I want to start being able to hear clearer and see clearer and get more messages from my clients. And Yeshua came up and said, are you sure? And because he always, now he knows me well enough, he always asks now, are you sure? Because I'll just say, I want this now. And then second thought, maybe I don't. So he always says, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm sure. And he's like, okay, I'll give you these steps. And when you master the first one, I will give you the second one. And so it was really from Yeshua that he gave me these 5 steps. And then when I was completed with the 5 steps, he's like, now you're going to share it. And it's like, okay. And that's when I made the video of how. And you can get the video for free if you sign up and go to www.designyourownascension.com and sign up for my email list, and you get that video for free.
Yes, definitely have to check it out. The 5 steps were amazing. So go to your website, check it out, sign up for the newsletter because there'll be more things coming. But I just want to ask, can anyone, based on your 5 steps, learn how to speak with or hear their guides?
Yes, it gives you a foundation of, because we're all intuitive. Every single one of us is intuitive. It's learning how to decipher those intuitive hits that we get. So when you follow the 5 steps that were given to me and that I've passed along, it helps give you a good foundation of learning how to clear out all your energy fields in your body and everything, how to just push away all the BS in order for spirit to come in clearer. And so the 5 steps gives you a better foundation and clearer, almost like a clean slate for spirit to come in and communicate with you. Now, is it, I'll follow these 5 steps and it's an instant cure? No, you got to put in the work. I have so many clients come to me and say, I want to learn to be intuitive, but it's a long, hard road. It's it's daily practice, it's daily meditation, it's learning and, you know, soaking up whatever interests you. Go and learn and practice. Mm-hmm. It's really good to learn and read, but you have to put it into practice as well. Mm-hmm. So the 5 steps is a great starting point.
Yeah, so give us the website address again, please, Krista.
It's www.designyourownascension.com.
Now, I can tell you right now, and I don't even know if I told you this before, but you probably knew it or assumed it, is that I am a big fan of all of the mediums and shows. Like, I love the Long Island medium. I love Teresa Caputo. I love her personality. I love to just watch her. And there are a few others, you know, of course, I grew up on Sylvia Brown. But this just came to me. I don't know if Spirit wanted me to ask or not, but what would you say is one of the main things that people misunderstand about you being a medium?
One of the biggest things is I don't talk to dead people all day.
Not all day.
I have learned how to set my boundaries mm-hmm. and how to not get bombarded by spirit constantly, especially and I love crossed over loved ones. I truly do, but it's not one of my favorite things to do because they can be a little persistent mm-hmm. and a little in your face. So learning how to set my boundaries was a big thing, and people will always come up to me and say, "Oh, can you see my grandma?" I'm like, no, I'm not in the right headspace right now. Because mm-hmm. in order to connect with somebody from the other side, you actually have to raise your vibration and they have to lower theirs. Mm-hmm. And for me personally, I actually have to even kind of almost lower mine a little bit more because I'm so used to connecting with angels, archangels, ascended masters that I actually got to come down a little bit more. And it's draining to talk to crossover loved ones. I love doing it. I love giving messages. But that's the biggest misconception is I just can't do it on the spot. Like I have to get into the right headspace. Mm-hmm. Now, if somebody is talking about, oh, so-and-so just passed away, like you did that spirit will automatically, boom, come in for me, and I'll see them and I'll feel them, and like they'll start communicating. But it's almost like a trigger. Somebody has to say, this and this happened to me, and I have to be open enough in order for them to come in. Mm-hmm. So would you like to hear messages from your friend? Okay.
Yes. Do you have a message for my friend?
I do.
I don't know. What's coming through for you, Krista?
Okay. So, okay. So I get that he was a little bit of a bigger man, correct? A little bit broader chest, and I don't want to say overweight, but a little bit of a tummy.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Okay, I'm not going to get too much into it because I know it's super fresh for you. Mm-hmm. And okay. Do you know if he was diabetic?
I do not.
Okay. I'm not a medical doctor, so I don't know fully, but he's showing me something with his blood mm-hmm. that contributed to the heart attack. So it was steps leading up to it that passed, but he had warning signs coming up to it. Though it was fast and sudden like that to the family, I felt like he knew this was going to happen. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. And then, okay. He was he transitioned rather quickly. Mm-hmm. So there was like he's sitting here very solid for me right here in this chair over here. And, did he have a daughter?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. He's talking about a young girl. Okay. He's talking about, he's saying, I was met by a young girl. And it really feels like his daughter. Again, I don't want to get too personal, but I'm not, mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. He was a fast talker as well. Because he was like, and he's very jolly. He's very happy. He's very charismatic. He's very exuberant. Does this make sense?
Yes.
And okay. And his biggest message for you. See, because now he's going from clairvoyant into clairaudient. So now I'm hearing him. He says, don't give up on your hopes and your dreams, Sharifah. Don't give up. Though this road is hard that you are on right now, even from this position that I am at now, I am seeing your trials, and I had no idea the trials that you had to go through. But I see them now, and I want you to continue to keep pushing forward, to continue this motion of forward ability that you have, mobility that you have, to keep going. I know at times that you want to stop, but I want to encourage you to keep moving forward, that there is, and he's kind of funny, he's saying, I'm going to use this pun, this light at the end of the tunnel that you need to reach, and that you have bigger goals in mind that will even transpire by the end of the year. And he will definitely be visiting you in dreams. And he's stepping away now.
Well, if you are just now tuning in, we are speaking with Crista Marie Miller, who is the best. Thank you for that, Krista. Had to step aside for a minute. About to make a sister cry over here. I'm getting all emotional. But as Krista says, we have to let those emotions out. So again, Karen, Louise, Lonnie, Olivia are here with us. People are coming in and out. So if you have questions, if you have comments, please ask Krista, because we have Krista in front of us here, taking her time to sit with us and help us. And that was just such a beautiful gift. So, whew.
That was a little bit of channeling as well. He kind of melded in with me and was given the message as well. So
that was beautiful. That was very beautiful. It was very surprising, but I'm just grateful as always for your ability to assist. Now, your website, CristaMarieMiller.com. What are some of the services and what are some of the things that you can help people with?
Yeah, well, I do one-on-one readings. I live out near Palm Springs, so I travel mainly to Orange County, but I can give readings anywhere in the world through Zoom, exactly the same platform we're using today. As you can tell in that short little reading, like spirit energy, you can be online. So, and I also do in person. I work out of Sage Wellness Center that I'm at here today. I work out of Body Studios in Anaheim, and the Healing Key in Long Beach, and also the Power of 3 Center in Upland. So I can meet many different places, but again, online is always an option. I'm also a certified color coach. I teach people how to see auras and colors and how to interpret color into their life, because I'm also a spiritual artist. I love to paint. I love to work with color. So if you sign up, you get 2 free classes on, oh my goodness, Spirit's coming in already. Hold on.
I love that look.
Right? Okay. Yeah, so I'm a certified color coach, and I can teach you how to work with color in your life, and that's 2 free classes. So you can sign up there at my website. You just go on the tab Work With Me, and I have so many different range of services that you can have. Okay. There's another message coming through.
We're waiting.
Okay. So this is definitely an archangel that is coming in. Okay. All right, this is a universal message. And I'm going to go into full channel mode because so many people don't understand what a voice channel is. So okay, this is Archangel Gabriel, who is coming forward. And okay, he wants to deliver a message and show how channeling works, how it's not scary. And I'm going to go in full channel mode. So when I channel, I actually close my eyes and I step aside and let him fully come in. And just to show everybody that it's not scary, because he's kind of Archangel Gabriel, I've noticed he's kind of taking a role of making the woo-woo not so scary. He's kind of been that role for me lately.
Well, so, tell Archangel Gabriel I say hello. So Sharifah says hello. Hello, Archangel Gabriel.
Because he's one of your main archangels. So it's kind of funny that he was the one. It's not.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. My dearest ones, I come here in order to deliver a message of hope. There is hope still in the world. Yes, this planet is low on vibrational energy, but you, my dears, have the ability to raise up in vibration every single day. Though you can step out onto the wrong foot, as they say in the morning, that does not mean your whole day has to be horrible. You can change your mood in an instant second. And I am here in order today to deliver a message of hope and also to spark that divine intuition in each and every one of you. There is a divine spark of God in each and every one of you. And that spark is a beautiful, enlightened being that will help and assist you in order to see the world in a different way. All you have to do is activate that. And in order to activate that spark inside you, you just have to simply say, archangels, whatever God you believe in, you just say, I am ready to invoke this spark that's inside me. See and feel what you have to show for me today. It's that simple, but you must ask and you must actually invoke it in order to deliver and receive the messages that are sitting there and waiting for you to receive. So try that, my dear ones. I want to encourage you to just sit there and let that spark just enlighten you and to sparkle. And that spark lies within a little bit right of the heart, right there. That is where that spark is. That is where that drive is. So deliver that spark, deliver that, and let it just burst open and engulf your day and enlighten and brighten and lift up your vibrational mood. Thank you, dear ones. We'll leave you that. Blessings.
That is beautiful. How do you feel when you have those messages and you're able to deliver those messages?
Oh, so blessed. So blessed. Like, so, it's overwhelming. When they want to come in, I'll get like, my nose itches a lot. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay. And then they'll get my attention some other way. But when they leave, it's just, it's just that engulfing warm love, like serious angel wings surrounding you. And just, it's like right before they leave me, it's just like they give me like a quick little hug just to kind of make sure I'm back in my body. It's so surreal and sweet. So I'm truly blessed to be able to do this.
Yes, that was beautiful. We want to say hello to Chelsea Hutchins. Hello, Chelsea. And Louise says that was a wonderful message. So we are definitely here. We are definitely receiving it. Now I want to ask, because one of the things that you mentioned is your nose starts to itch. How did you realize that your nose itching had something to do with spirit wanting to speak?
Well, because when I knew I was able to channel, I resisted it for a long, long time. And finally, I was just like, okay. I'm like, because I didn't want to be, I called it hijacked. I don't want to be hijacked all day long. I'm like, can you please give me signs? So I asked for it. I asked for signs that they wanted to come in and channel. But again, I have control and everybody has control. No spirit can just come and jump in your body and take over. No, you have to invite it in. You if you can rewatch, Archangel Gabriel stood over here and got my attention. Mm-hmm. I knew he was around because my nose has been itching since the beginning of the interview. Mm-hmm. But okay. And so I'll have a little conversation with him, no, not right now. Let me wait a little bit and let you come in. My other signals that I get, so my nose itches, my throat will itch sometimes, or my tongue will feel like it's super fat in my mouth. And those are my signals that it's okay, something wants to take over. Mm-hmm. And even I'll notice when I am channeling, again, I'll step aside. I usually go either to the right or the left, kind of behind me, and just watch the whole thing. Mm-hmm. But as I'm channeling, my body, and it's my bad, I didn't expect to be channeling today, so I didn't drink much water. Mm-hmm. but I can tell, like I was sitting there critiquing myself saying, come on, Krista, because when I don't drink enough water is number one key for channeling, because the energy has to go somewhere, but the energy almost gets stuck. It's like, and it's like, that's why I was like back there critiquing myself, saying, you should have drank water. So that's why I get those signals, because I asked for them.
Mm-hmm. Wow. So listen, I actually had a chance to watch another channel, Frances Pullen, who channels Mozart Amadeus. And the message that she channeled when I saw her about 2 or 3 weeks ago was almost verbatim the same message that came through with Archangel Gabriel. Now, we can look at it and say that it's confirmation, because most of the time what we hear is messages of love. Like they want us to love. They want us to heal the earth and lift our vibration. Do you ever feel, and this is just a question because I have you here, so I'm going to ask, but do you ever feel as if the messages that come through are general as opposed to, hearing something very specific?
Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like, I'm very big on evidential. Like I want hardcore detailed facts about your life. And so it kind of irked me when we would get these universal messages of love and peace. And, I was just like, oh, it's so general.
Right.
And it kind of like, because that's so not me. Like in this practice, I want like crazy detailed information. So, but then they were just like, when it comes as a universal message, you just allow it and accept it to happen. But when I am on one-on-one with people and I'm channeling, I do ask them for specific information, and they do deliver. Because, that's one of my pet peeves is the universal love. And I'm like, we hear it all the time. But, like there's always somebody who needs to hear it and who needs that little uplift of hope in their day. So that's why I'm like, all right, again, I was sitting here arguing with Archangel Gabriel. I'm like, I don't want to deliver a message like that. And then he's just like, it's okay, just let me come in. So it is one of the things I struggle with is the universal love and hope and peace messages. That's just kind of me, because I do like the hardcore evident facts.
Yes. Absolutely. No, but that's still wonderful. And again, if people go to your website at CristaMarieMiller.com, they can take a look at everything that you do, sign up for your newsletter on your other website so that they can get the 5 steps. Because I know that even though people, a long time ago may have bullied you or been afraid of you, I mean, there are so many people right now who would love to be able to open up their abilities. Like, aside from the 5 steps, because again, we're going to sign up for the newsletter. We're going to stay in touch with you and what you're doing. But can you give us, like, if somebody wants to be you and do what you do, how can they become a medium or a channel?
Well, I do take one-on-one clients of teaching them. And I kind of do a blend of mine, Sylvia Brown's, and James Van Praagh. Like I kind of make my own. And so I do teach one-on-one of teaching mediumship, and but I go beyond mediumship. I think everything begins with your intuition. So I think you always begin with intuition, then you move into mediumship, and then you move into channeling. And channeling is not the end, and I know it's not the end. I know there's a lot more for me to do. It's just where I'm at right now. So I'm sure there's more things after channeling. But I do feel that's the process a person needs to go through. Get really good at your psychic skills, intuitive, and then work on mediumship, crossed over loved ones, getting evidential facts, and then allowing channeling to come through.
Okay, so work on the intuition, then work on being a medium, then work on channeling.
Yes.
Okay, so when you're a medium, you're working with the crossed over loved ones. When you're a channel, you're channeling the angels, the archangels, the higher beings. Is that correct?
Yeah. Well, even mediums, they can bring in spirit guides and angels, things like that. But channeling, I feel, is when they actually take over and speak through you. That's what I consider channeling.
Okay.
You don't have much conscious memory of what you said. And you don't have control over what's coming out of your mouth.
So how long is the process? I mean, it may differ for each one, may differ for the intuition, the medium, and as the channel, the channel may be a 5-year, 7-year. I think we like 7, like a 7-year process, whereas the other ones may be a different rate. What is the length or the time, or what would you advise?
I strongly suggest working at least one intuition medium, one ability a year. I know a year is a long time, but you really have to ingrain it in you where it actually becomes part of you. When I work one-on-one with clients, it's a kind of a personalized step because everybody's different. Everybody starts their journey at a different place. And they don't have to work with me for a year, but it's like checking in every 3 months and giving them a little bit more, and kind of pushing them to where their next step is. So yeah, I would say if you study each one for a year, a good 3 years, you should have a pretty good hang on it.
Yes. I don't know, because I'm always so intrigued about all of this, being a medium, being a psychic, being intuitive, being a channel. It's just so intriguing to me. So definitely, we're down to the last few minutes of the show. We want to welcome Karuna, who joined us and is watching today. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So since we only have Krista for a few minutes, if you have questions, if you have comments, if you'd love to show Krista some love, please add those in the comments section. If you enjoyed the show, please go ahead and share this interview, because again, friends don't let friends miss out on Ask Sharifah. So we're going to see if we have any questions or comments from everyone who's tuning in. But in the meantime, Krista, what I like to do at the end of every show is just allow my guests the opportunity to speak directly to the audience, speak directly to people who are watching it live as well as in the archives, and let them know what you want them to take away from your interview.
The biggest thing I want you to know is just you're not alone. Like, there is help out there. There is resources for you in order to receive help. Like, there's nothing that my clients have come to me and said to me that's like, no, you're not doing this and you're not doing this. It's all in reality. It's all happening to you. So don't take it as a grain of salt. Really dive deep into what you're feeling, what you're experiencing. And if you need help, reach out and get it, because that's the worst thing, is suffering in silence and suffering alone. There's always a resource there for you in order to get help. I know I've traveled most of this journey on my own, but it's always so much easier when you have that group of people that support you. And I'm sure there's always classes online. There's always workshops you can go to that are local to you. And if you want to start exploring it, go and explore it. Like, push the fear aside. That's like the number one thing that stops so many people is fear. I live in the land of puppies and unicorns, and so it's like there's nothing to fear. Fear, the acronym is false ego appearing real. And the ego stands for edging God out. So when you edge God out is when the fear steps in. When you are truly divinely guided and blessed and protected, you have no fear. There's nothing to fear, as long as you get the correct guidance in order to how to proceed with all this. So no, that's a big thing, is release the fear and know that you're not alone and get proper guidance.
Well, did that come from you, Krista, or was that channeled?
I think that was channeled. I don't know.
I think it was channeled as well. What if it was, if it wasn't, if it was you, whoever it was, that was beautiful. I love it. You have some great comments that are coming in. Karuna says, good to see Krista after a long time. She joined late, she said, so she's going to go ahead and watch it in the archive. Louise said, love the show. So we're getting some great feedback. I think I have definitely enjoyed having you as a guest today. You have definitely made my day, my week, my weekend, the 4th of July holiday. So I want to thank you for being a guest on today's episode of Ask Sharifah Videocast.
Oh, thank you, Sharifah, for having me. I truly appreciate it.
Oh, you are so welcome. And I want to thank everyone for tuning in, everyone for their comments, for all the hearts, the thumbs up, the loves, the supports, for sharing this interview. Thank you all for your support. Definitely wouldn't be here without you. And if you're interested in watching more of my interviews, if you're interested in, hey, being a guest, or if you want to place your product or service, what you do in front of the Ask Sharifah audience, please visit the website at AskSharifah.com. Until then, everyone have a blessed and safe holiday weekend. Until next week, we're out. Bye now.